Guys, welcome back to the podcast In Your Corner. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the feedback from the first episode. Short, sweet, nice and brief, just an introduction. And I am very grateful and really appreciate everyone already following, subscribing, and hopefully listening back in here now again. I know this one here now is that funny time, that little space between Christmas and New Year's. December is gone. Well, some people already disappeared in December, but it's a time where motivation has dropped off. Energy is a little bit flat. But I just want to make sure that everyone knows this next episode now. It's not for a January reset, not for the January rebuild, starting over. It's not going to be about New Year's resolutions or magic detoxes. And it's not don't take anything as a punishment for Christmas. Christmas is for enjoying with our friends, with our family, and making the most of that time off. This episode, moving forward here, just really wanted to be about how we hold ourselves together. Just when that motivation fades, things drop off, and things are a little bit flat starting back in January. And the one thing that I've always found just keeps me together, keeps my sanity, is simply routine. Routine and structure. Routine and structure is something that I've had for years, obviously with my gym background and working in the health and fitness industry. And what we really notice in January now is just things creeping back to life, things coming back together. The traffic is building up everywhere again. The emails start flowing in. Work starts building up. We're waiting for the schools now to reopen. And that's when I think routines really get back in. It's like in the summertime, isn't it? We just always wait. We can't wait for the schools to get back, and we say, I'll get back to that then. I'll get back to it then. But as I said, some people then at this time of year will just feel a little bit disconnected, a little bit behind. They might see people moving forward, grabbing life, getting on with things, and they're just feeling that little bit lost, that little bit flat. You see a lot of pressure on social media, especially about big fresh starts, all, as I said, the big resolutions kicking on into the new year. Whereas your nervous system, our own nervous systems, we don't want big, raw, fresh starts. Our nervous system simply craves regulation, safety, and stability. So you'll see the hustle and bustle of life on the outside, but what really matters, where your real strength lies, is what's going on the inside. I've spent so much time in the last few years doing more inner work, dropping the mask, the ego, dropping what people are seeing on social media or seeing on the outside of things. So that steadiness, that's the real strength. That's the real stability. And it's how steady, how stable you feel on the inside. There was a time at one of my lowest points, and it's even, I actually spoke about it during the day on one of my social media accounts. And even to think about it, it's it's actually still quite raw. You still get it. It was in the hostel, in the men's shelter, Dublin City Centre. I was actually on the quays there, so busy all around. I was sitting there in that damp room, just looking out the window. It was one of those wet, cold, grey evenings in Dublin. And like January, with life kicking off, you're looking out that window and life is in full swing. Dublin City Centre, full chaos outside that glass. Buses flying up and down. cyclists flying around, getting lashed on from the rain, and people just running around, rushing around in chaos and frenzy. And I'm sitting there looking through that glass and actually just frozen in that moment, frozen in time, thinking life is going on out there and I'm stuck in here, stuck in that moment. Thinking then, how did I get here? How did this happen? You feel that emptiness, that hollowness, and even confusion there. Total sadness, feeling that shame of sitting there. And to be honest then, there was moments of anger, real anger. It actually reminded me of grief. You know, we all know that feeling of when someone has died or someone has passed away close to us or belong to us. And we feel that nothing is happening around us for those couple of days, but the whole world is moving around, traffic is beeping, shops are still open, everyone's laughing and joking, and you're there angry and hurt. Your world has collapsed. Life just keeps going. But in like a moment of grief, you feel left behind. You feel just stuck there, looking at all this going on around you, looking at all the outside. It was hard to sit there in those moments, and yeah, but the biggest thing I learned was to sit in them, to accept them, and to sit still. I think it's hard for any man, any person, to just sit still in their thoughts. But in those thoughts, words came into my head, and they're ringing back in me now. You're here because of choices, because of your decisions, because of things you did, things you didn't do. And when you're sitting there thinking like that, it can go two ways for you. You keep going down that slope, the hurt gets bigger, or you step up, you take responsibility, you take action, you take steps to move forward, and you own it. You own that shit. See, it wasn't the world's fault. It wasn't anybody else's fault. It was my fault. My responsibility, my pain, my hurt, and only I could change it. Only I could move it forward. And that's what stuck with me then. That life was so crazy outside that window. And if I wanted to move my life on again or forward again, I had to take control of it. I had to take control of the situation. There was going to be no magic wands, no magic moment, no big breakthrough. It was just me, my alarm clock, because I had it set at 5 a.m. like I always did. I was building up a new practice in the gym, so I had clients to get in, show up for. Had my own movement to get back to, my own training to get into, looking after my own food. Things I've done for years, things I've done for the past 20 years of working in the health and fitness industry. And that was it. The simplicity of back to structure, back to routine. It wasn't nothing new. It wasn't nothing fancy. Simplicity works. As I still talk to clients today or coaching today, simplicity works. The boring basics. And it's funny because it's been different phases through my life where people have called me boring because of structure, because of routine. Now, I don't live like a monk. I don't live on chicken, water, lettuce. I love pizza night with me two boys. Love a little whiskey. So, boring is just your routine, your structure. And boring to me is perfectly fine if that's the way it's going to be. But that's what moved me forward. That's what gave me stability again. That safety. And a big thing was just rebuilding trust in myself. That's what gave me momentum. That's what gave me back belief when feeling so low. It wasn't just some magic switch overnight. It didn't just happen overnight. It took time. It took doing it day in, day out, as boring as that sounds. And believe me, there was many a time when that alarm was going off that I didn't want to get up out of bed. Even in that room, even lying there in that cold steel bunk bed, the spring sticking in your back. That duvet. The duvet is one of those, the little thin, flimsy one. Barely covering anything, a little rip in it. Oh, well, old laundry, obviously, that they just use in the hostel. But even that, some days you just didn't want to get up from that. But I did. Like I have for the last 15 years, the last 20 years. 5 a.m. alarms, early morning shifts, long nights locking up in gyms. See, that's the gym world. That's the way the gym hours are. Nobody wants to train on a 9 to 5 or 10 to 5 during the day. Everybody wants to train either early morning, late nights, or weekends. That's where my structure has always been. That's where my routine has always come. But that structure, that routine, always gave me freedom. So as much as I controlled my hours, I always knew what my hours were going to be. I was able to create my own freedom, my own space. And that even hit home just last week. I went to Zachary, my youngest boy. He's 12 now. I went to his school play. So he's in 6th class in primary school. So it just hit me then as I was sitting there at his play. That's his last time now in primary school, his last little show. And Joshua is 17, Zachary is 12. Throughout all of their primary school, I've been to every single play, every single show they've done. Been at all their sports days, been at all their football, their school teams, anything, I've been there for that. Obviously, there's no medal, that's not for award or recognition. I actually just felt really, really proud of myself in that moment that I was able to do that. For both boys. And it's been the same with their own soccer clubs, their own football teams that they're in. I've always been able to bring them training. I've always been able to bring them to their matches. That's just what matters most to me. That means more than anything else. And that was from my routine, my structure, freedom and space I'd created. But it wasn't just the school days. It wasn't just their sports teams. See, for years, since the boys were young, I've always made sure, it's been one of the main things I've stuck to, is no matter what, time with the boys comes first. Making memories, creating moments, and whether it was days out, day trips somewhere, whether it was nights away, weekends away, into the likes of all the Dublin games, some of the Ireland games, anything like that. Even the little holidays we've been on ourselves. Didn't always have to be something fancy though as well. So many times, so many wet mucky days just simply down the park, kicking a ball around, going off for a walk, a hike, a swim, something. But always something. The boys came first, we created our memories, created our moments, and I've always taken photographs. And I find it amazing now, looking back at them all, right from when they're born to the present day. I've always printed off the photographs and the pictures. I have those created on memory walls all around the house now. And obviously as the boys are getting older now, their needs and wants from me as a father and just as a man as well are different. They're changing, they're evolving. So just that presence was so valuable, and I see it even more. I felt it even more the other day after Zachary's school play. One other time in my life have I felt that kind of happiness, that sense of pride. And it came from someone really close to me talking to me. A couple of years ago, he got very sick, someone really close. Someone I'd always just call up to. We'd be very open and frank with our conversations with each other. We really leaned on each other and into each other. And he was a father, exactly like me. Pure workaholic. And he got sick. He became sick. It was going to be terminal. And we were just having one of our chats on our normal days. And he said, he always, in fairness, complimented me on the way I was with the boys. And he said, I understand now. I see it even more now. Obviously being sick hit him hard. And he said, I see why all the nights out, saying no, some of the events, anything, the boys came first. I see it, I understand it now. And he said, all his money, his success and achievements, he simply wished that he had done more with his own kids. Just more time, more presence there with his own children. That's a dying man talking to you, saying those words. So it's like, I'm telling you now, anyone out there with their kids, it's not about money, success, achievements. It's your presence they want, your time, creating those moments, creating those memories. Presence, folks, presence. Another vital component that I've always found with my own routine or structure is simply that trust in myself, belief and confidence. So many people, I'll speak, say, from the gym background, I think. If someone sets their alarm and they're going to come and train at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and then you don't do it, okay, once or twice, fine, it might be just a thing. But if that becomes a habit, if that becomes regular, that's you not sticking to your word, to yourself. That chips away at you. You end up, you can't believe your own words. You don't believe in yourself. You don't trust yourself. That's only going to chip away at your own self-respect, your own self-worth. Routine, structure builds that. You're committing to something, you're sticking to your word, you're following through. Your basic structure keeps that follow through. And that's where confidence will come from. Not from the hype, not from who's watching or your audience, or it's what you do with your actions, your words, and your follow through. We all have it in us to keep the things, keep the structure. So if you're going into January now and you don't make big outlandish promises, start small, start simple, just stick to your own word. That will lift you in so many different ways. Because sometimes it's not about building a new version or finding a new version of yourself. It's simply stripping away the bullshit around it, dropping the mask, the egos, whatever it is, cutting the excuses. Just stick to your own words. You'll build up your self-worth, your self-respect, your confidence. It reminds me of the artist Michelangelo, not the turtle, the artist. And there's a quote attributed to him. It's about the statue of David. And he always said it wasn't about the statue. He simply saw an angel in that marble and he carved away and chipped away to unveil that angel. And that's what we need to do with ourselves. We always look at what we want to add on, what we want to take on and build up, whereas most of us, a lot of us, need to strip away. And that's what I've done for myself in especially the last 2 years, gone really in on the deep work, stripping away things, cutting away things, building back up from the inside. And that's how the confidence is higher now. So that's why I think 2026 can be a great year for us all together. And if you're struggling with anything now, feeling low, feeling a bit broken, I urge you just to stick to your word. Say you're going to do something, do it. Follow through. Because you're not broken. You don't need a new version of yourself. You don't need to go crazy on so many different things. Maybe just simply sit down, sit still, look at things that you can lose, strip things away, cut things out, cut the fat, build from the inside out. Looking ahead now, the next episode of this podcast, I think we'll build further into that steadiness. But I want to look at it from a different lens. I'm going to speak about the masks we wear, ego, and hiding behind the smile. I want to keep this podcast just on a steady ground. That rawness, real, safe space. Never want to sound that I'm just preaching down to anybody. 'Cause that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm about. Just remember, Happy New Year to everybody. And I'm here in your corner. Thanks very much.